This is Girls, Gains, and Growing Pains, a podcast about working smarter and harder to achieve your fitness goals. In every episode, we break down common health and fitness questions in a fun and relatable way.
Whether you're a beginner or far along on your fitness journey, this podcast is for you. I'm Rachel Johns, a bikini bodybuilder, nutrition certified from Precision Nutrition, and NASM certified personal trainer.
And I'm Julia Ross, just a regular gal trying to get healthier and lose weight.
It's important to note that neither of us are medical professionals, and the views expressed in this podcast are those of the host.
Now, before we dive into the contents of today's episode, we have some very exciting news to share.
Yes.
Rachel, do you want to tell us what happened yesterday?
Julia, who is my best friend, helped my boyfriend plan his proposal.
Your ex-boyfriend.
We are now fiancés. We are engaged. The ring is beautiful, and we are very, very excited. So that is a very new big milestone in my life. Like,
yes.
We're getting married.
Such an exciting life update. I know, does it feel different now that you have the ring on your finger?
It actually kind of does.
Yeah.
Because we've lived together for 5-6 months now? Probably more than that.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh my gosh, we're doing this. And he reminds me of conversations we had about what if this is it? And now we're like, this is it.
This is it.
We're doing this.
Oh
and
my God.
It was great. And I love it. And I love the ring, and I like the symbolism of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited. I'm excited for the wedding. I'm excited for you to come to the wedding.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah. Big things happening.
That's we're only a day out of it, so I'm still getting used to it.
Yeah, we barely passed the 24-hour mark.
Yeah, just barely past the 24-hour mark recording this. Now when we release it, it'll be
oh, that's
a few weeks from now. But yeah, it's crazy.
Stuff.
It's crazy too, because I'm like, am I old enough to be engaged? You know, but all my friends are married, pretty much married.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. It's
Life
great.
Comes at you fast.
He's great.
I approve.
Yeah. He's truly the best.
A gem.
So, very excited. But yes, as Julia has experienced our relationship and everything, all the dynamics of it. So, it's very cool that we are now at this point.
Yes.
So. But speaking of that, we've also experienced your past here. So, we're going to talk about that today, guys. Today is Julia's journey.
Yes.
Julia's journey, and we're here to tell you guys about it. I have had so many people tell me how much they love hearing Julia's opinion on everything because, it's so relatable. You've had quite the journey.
It's true.
And I want people to see where you came from, what maybe struggles you've gone through, how you got to where you are now, and what does that look like moving forward?
Yeah.
Because it's so funny when you told me your initial goals. And once we surpassed those, the goals have continued lining up so much. Even today, when we were at the gym.
Every time we meet, it's different.
Every time we go, you're like, I need to do this now. And I need to do this now. Because every week you've made progress.
Yeah.
So it's so easy for you to see, new goals coming forward. So let's get started with that. And
yes.
Julia has no clue what I'm going to ask her. I actually just told her I'm gonna take hold of this episode and ask you stuff.
These are my most candid, honest reactions because I had no time to prepare.
Bear with us.
Yes.
Okay. So I actually want to take people back to your initial start of your journey as an athlete, because I know we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
Because when we even first met, and even when we went to Hawaii, so I tried to get Julia to go to run with me when we were in Hawaii.
I blocked that out. That was so traumatizing.
And that was a point where you told me, oh, I used to be a cross-country runner.
Throwback.
And then we did exercising in Hawaii and stuff, and, I want to kind of look back first when you were a cross-country runner. What was your mindset being an athlete, and what was your mindset back then? What did you always think your future would look like in regards to, whether it was you continued to be an athlete, whether you wanted to, take a break from that? Did you have any thoughts on that, or do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love moving my body. I started dance when I was really little. Mm-hmm. I just get a lot of relief from feeling the blood flowing through my body, moving heavy things. just to recap, in high school, I did JV basketball, sucked, was not invited back.
You're also super short.
I am.
Julia's super short. If you don't know, if you haven't looked at the picture, she's much smaller than I am.
My coach said, you know, Julia, if basketball was like football, where there was an offense and a defense, you would be a great defensive player.
Constructive criticism.
Truly. That was when I learned what shin splints were, because that was the first like big sport I ever played. So after that, I pivoted to track. And
what did you run in track?
Okay, yeah, so that's the funny part. I was a jack of all trades in track. So I was one of the few girls that threw. So I threw shot put and discus. And so a shot put is literally just like the girl's ball was, I think, 14 pounds, but I could throw the 16-pound guy, Paul, dude, just not as far. And so it was just an iron ball. And then a discus is like a weighted frisbee. Mm-hmm. And so you would just throw those as far as you could. And then I started out running the 400 meters solo.
Rough race.
Yeah, rough. And then I got bumped to the 4x4, also rough. So that's a relay where you have to pass the baton at high speed. And that was fun. And then...
And a 400 is a quarter of a mile. It's not a short distance.
I always forget that, because when I was in high school, it just felt like
it's
a little...
one loop on the track.
Well, and it took me, like, I was by no means... We were D5. It wasn't crazy, but I could do it in, like, 1 minute and 6 seconds.
That's
I could
great.
do a quarter mile.
Yeah.
So that really inspired me to think, you know, what could I do next? And so I got motivated to just keep pushing myself. See, could I be faster? And I'm really competitive. So I would look left and right and say, you know, how can I improve? And I'm inspired by these people.
How can I beat this girl?
Exactly, literally. Well, and then it became, how can I beat this boy, too? I just wanted to be the best all around.
Yeah.
And so I kept growing in track. Eventually, by my senior year, I was track captain for 2 years.
Okay.
So I was pretty high up on the team, and it wasn't because I was the fastest, but I was like up there. And I was running 2 miles. I mean, there was a meet where I ran 2 miles, a 400 meter, and a 200 meter all in one day, and then threw shot put and discus in between. So it was, I was all over the board.
Yeah.
And then in that mix, I did varsity cross country. I could do 3 7-minute miles in a row on hills.
The cross country life. I did hate that.
Yeah. I mean, the best people are in cross country. Like it's a special breed of people that are able to to do that.
Yeah.
So I made a lot of friends in cross just through mutual suffering. And then I played tennis, and yeah. So very long story short, I really enjoyed moving my body, so I tried to do it as much as possible. I enjoyed being competitive. I enjoyed pushing myself, and I tried out for the collegiate track and cross country teams when I got to my university. But coming from the D5 environment, I couldn't cut it. And so as soon as
college track is fast.
Yeah.
My old roommate was college track, and let me tell you.
They're a different breed.
They're intense.
Yeah, it's a lot. And so it was also hard, too, to go from being one of the best to being just the absolute worst and not even making the team. So that really demotivated me, because I lost the community aspect. I lost the competitiveness aspect. And so I said, you know, I'll take a year off. I've been working out 2 to 3 hours every single day. And that was on days when I didn't run before school, because sometimes I'd run before, after, all the time. And so I stopped working out for a year, and I maintained my body weight. My body looked the same, butt looked the same, priorities, and it was fine. So then I just lost all motivation. There was really...
I think that's very relatable for people, because I have met so many people who come to me and say, well, yeah, I used to do this, and I used to do this sport, and I used to do this sport, but once I stopped competing, like, fell off.
Yep.
There was no motivation. There was also just no accountability with being forced to go to a practice.
Or goal setting. There's no one there to set goals for you.
Yeah, exactly. Having a coach really, and a team that you're working for.
Yeah.
You know, you're a teammate. And you're trying to also be there for your team. So once you kind of get rid of that, you know, it can be challenging. So then you went to college. And what did that look like? Was your schedule mostly just school? Did you exercise? You know, because I think college is the time where you become your own person.
Totally.
And, you know, you're kind of, as Taylor Swift would say, you're on your own, kid. Because you're making new friends. Your family's not there. No one's holding your hand.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you know, the freshman 15 is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what changes happened in college? And, you know, did your changes from athlete to, you know, where you were this summer happen in college? Was it after college? When did that lifestyle really change?
Yeah, so it's interesting because it wasn't so much that my lifestyle changed. Like, it changed when I was in college, but what happened more was that my lifestyle caught up to me, is how I would describe what happened.
Okay.
So in college, I'm a huge nerd. I got super sucked into the academics. I started a Harry Potter club. That took up a lot of time. Big nerd. I was very open about it. Still am. Gryffindor, proud. And then I joined a sorority my sophomore year, so that took up a lot of time, and I was very social, and for me, I was getting so much stimulation mentally and socially that I wasn't relying as much on the physical as I was in high school. Because in high school, like, I was in the nerdy friend group. Like, all of my friends were the valedictorians, salutatorians. They were in all the APs, but I would always just, you know, I was always taking like 2 to 3 less APs than everyone else was. So I wasn't pushing myself as hard as I was when I got to college. So I went to grad school, and in grad school I taught. Yeah. Which is just like double nerdy. So
hey, that's okay. Yeah. We love some smart.
I'm a scholarly gal. Yeah. So all through like the whole first semester of grad school, same thing. Not working out, but maintaining my figure exactly the same as it had been. And then COVID hit. And so my whole world got flipped upside down. Doing grad school online when you signed up for grad school in person is wild. And then on top of that, I was teaching, I think it was 60 students, and I was teaching them and also emotionally supporting them through COVID happening, because they're mostly freshmen or juniors, which are like your 2 most important years. So got really stressed mentally. And this isn't to say that I wasn't stressed in college. Like, I almost had to drop out in college because I got so sick for a whole semester, but it started compounding, and then I was at home all day because I didn't want to go out. And then all of a sudden, my clothes started getting tighter. I was like, sus, weird.
The clothes are shrinking.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I didn't even own a scale because it was such a moot point for me. And then it kept creeping up on me, and then I ended up going home for a couple months. And when I was home, like, food was the thing to look forward to. Food was the reward, the comfort. And so it's COVID, we're all freaking out. And so I just ate unabashedly whatever I wanted at any time of day. And then I got up to 180, and I was like, oh my goodness. Cause I've been at 135 my entire life, the whole time. And so I took these before pictures, all these before videos. This was back in like 2020, 2021. And then just didn't do anything about it.
I think what you're saying is like really, really relatable for people, because when people gain weight over the past like 4 years, I've always heard people say, the COVID made me gain weight. Yep. That's like the main phrase I hear, and I'm like, well, you know, it was such a big lifestyle shift for people, and I think that's when some of our coping mechanisms got exacerbated. Totally. Because that's what you had access to. Is, you know, you didn't have the social aspect to get out and get going, and if you were gonna like work out and everything, you were gonna do it at home by yourself. Yeah. And it's really easy to go to the cabinet and eat food because you're always home. It's like people who work from home. Like, I could never do that. Yeah. So I think a lot of people understand that, where you're like, well, I gained weight to 180. But the thing is even, you know, as the pandemic has kind of resolved-ish, and, you know, society's open, those habits have maintained. Which I think as we've gotten to know each other, that was the main hard point for you, was changing that habit now. Yeah. Because as you said, you're like, I was 180 and I felt like I was overweight. And then, you know, you're like, but I didn't do anything about it. Yeah. Because I don't know if you knew how.
Mm-mm.
Because your whole life you've been able to kind of do whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
It was just, lifestyle changed. COVID happened. Everyone's stuck at home. No one's doing anything.
No one's doing anything.
I mean, I worked at the ER, and so therefore we had to wear masks all the time. I think most of the ER people lost weight.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to touch on that even though you fall into maybe bad habits, old habits through the pandemic where you're just surrounded by needing to cope, you can come out of it. So I want to talk about that a little bit because the conversion into a new lifestyle was really hard for you at first. And I know there were a few factors in that. One of them being a combination of you broke up with, someone who's really important to you. And also, dealing with mental health and you're working a job and there's a lot of moving parts. So how did that transition really happen? Like, where was that moment of like, this was hard, but then you made the choice to move forward and make those changes. So what did that process kind of look like for you?
So we always reference this summer, or last summer now. I forget it's 2024, but I reached the heaviest I'd ever been, and I tell Rachel all the time, I'm so mad at myself that I didn't weigh myself at my heaviest, but it was because I couldn't even bear to look. I couldn't even see. So I went to the beach with Rachel and her trainer friends, and we were all talking, and we thought we'd come up with this accountability group called Hot by Halloween was our goal. Yes. And it wasn't because we didn't feel hot then. It was just, it was catchy and it was
Shout
fun.
out Sabrina.
Yes, Sabrina, we love you. And so we made a little group chat, and that was my first taste of group accountability that I'd had since high school. And so that night I recently found, I'm a big journaler, and it's like a known thing in my family. Like, we literally did a journal reading of my 5th grade journal where my whole family sat around because I have no shame in laughing at my old self. So in this diary entry, I write, today is the day I need to do something about getting healthier and losing weight. And I touched on, because I'd gotten the gym membership, I wasn't really using it, and I wrote, I went on the treadmill for 30 minutes and it hurt me so bad that I went in the bathroom and cried. I cried. It was awful. And then, like always, because the habit cycle, I get home and I write in my diary, I covered my stomach with a frozen deep dish pizza box as I walked across the street because that was just where I was at. Like, it was, so I noticed that night, so that night I got down and I said, you know what? This is exactly what I said. And I remember because it's burned in my memory and I think of it every time I go to the gym. It's change can happen, but only if I'm the agent of it. Mm-hmm. And so that was the day that I took accountability for my actions. It became less COVID did this to me, isolation did this to me, stress did this to me. It was, okay, I'm doing this to me. This is me. And I was also on a medication that caused me to have super intense cravings. And so that day I decided, we're going to do a double-pronged approach. We're going to start weaning off of this medication, and we're going to go to the gym, start making an effort. And obviously it didn't change overnight. I mean, I was still doing lighter workouts and coming to you and be like, Rachel, aren't you so proud of me? And be like, that's a start. You're doing great.
Everyone starts somewhere. As a coach, I give affirmation. They always say give like at least one affirmation for every like criticism. And it was great. I was happy that you did your workout. Yeah. Was I happy about the food choices you made that day? No. Mm-mm. But I also know from my history of coaching that those habits are going to change. Yes. But as you said, like, you have to be the person making the change. Like, I can't just yell at someone to eat healthier and it's going to work. It's not going to work.
Well, because we've been friends for at least 8 months prior to that point, and I watched you model a healthy lifestyle. I knew what needed to be done, and you told me all the time, hey, I'm here whenever you're ready to do that. And I just was resistant. I wasn't ready to take you up on it. Yeah. And then it clicked one day. It clicked.
I'm glad it did, because you've made a lot of really, really great changes. And I'm glad you brought up the point that, like, it really changed for you, like, a little bit with the accountability group, too, because I think so many people can relate to that.
Yeah.
Because even if it's just that you regularly go to one fitness class on a Tuesday and everyone at that class knows that you go.
Yes.
That's like a great start. I always tell people to initiate their fitness journey with like even just a group class. Because people, if you go a lot, they notice when you're not there.
Yep.
They're like, why isn't Julia here?
Yeah.
Whether it's Zumba class, whether it's like a Metcon class or a yoga class.
Yeah.
People really notice, and that's like a great, easy accountability because everyone else is also relying on you to be there for their accountability.
Uh-huh.
It's like a little circle, you know.
A little symbiotic relationship there.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. And I love that. And I think my accountability can also sometimes come from my clients expect me to be at the gym.
Yeah.
Which it works for me.
Yeah.
And I also know with now you, like, you have people who tell you, they're like, oh, I saw your story and I went to the gym today.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a whole new realm of accountability.
100%.
with other people.
100%.
And I love that because we do have to hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
And so with that, what is your mindset now, like in this moment versus how it was even just back in like August, September? Like in August, September, your goal was like, I'm gonna lose weight, and then like I just want to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're in like a whole nother zone. We've talked about that where like your goals are so different. So how are you staying on track now that you've reached those previous goals? Because for a lot of people, they set goals, and once they reach them, it's kind of like this weird zone of like, do I set new goals or do I sit at the goal that I had for myself?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your mindset? Like, what's your journey going to continue into?
Yeah.
I know where I want your journey to go.
I know you've got a vision.
I've got a real vision for you because you have so much potential.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen Julia's Instagram or anything. Julia has like the best body shape you could have. And she is so like, your muscles are filling out in such a way that's so great. So
I'm blushing.
I know. But it is true, and I've told you that
This
before.
is true. This is
not the first time that I've told you that you're very blessed with your skeletal structure. I know it sounds weird.
Compliments only a trainer would give.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So goals. When I first started, I was setting goals out of a place of desperation.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah, it was very much. It wasn't from a place of self-loathing. It was just, I'm in pain. How do I fix this? And so I go to the gym, and the gym tracks like how often you go, and they did a year-end wrap-up, and in the year-end wrap-up, it was like, oh, did you know you went to the gym the most in August? And that was when my relationship ended.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's a interesting correlation there. And so I really found comfort in just the feeling of control that I had of going to the gym and steadily improving. It became a safe space. It became routine.
Oh, I love that the gym became a safe space.
Yeah.
I always wish that for my clients because that's how I feel. But it can be hard to get there. And so you got there so quickly, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I know it's not always your safe space in some regards.
We'll
like sometimes
share our embarrassing gym stories on a different
But you're right. Yeah, you really have embraced the gym.
Yeah. And so I was, originally the goal setting was just, I need something to change. Like, I need to prove that I have some control over my life. And the easiest way to do that was to just drop weight and start weightlifting. Those were my goals.
The easiest way. Isn't that funny, though? You're so right. We can only control, I feel like we can only control minor things.
Mm-hmm.
Like a small portion of things in our lives. A lot of things are like out of our control, like externally. That is one thing that you can take hold of. And I always tell people, I'm like, take hold of your health.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can control your water intake. And you can control how much you're eating. You can control that you're getting your exercise in. And I love that was something that kept you grounded and feeling like,
yeah,
I got this.
Yeah,
that's
100%. Right. And so something that I noticed was, well, first of all, Instagram gave me a lot of positive reinforcement because there were all of these influencers posting about how consistency will always trump motivation. Mm-hmm. And I was really motivated to go to the gym in August. And then, just in the normal, like, breakup healing cycle, kind of, I left the rage phase and went into the like the deep depression couch phase. And so I had to rethink my mindset, and then the gym went from being the safe place to being a playground, was how I kind of reframed the gym, because I was the kid on the playground who's like, all right everyone, this is the game we're playing, you over there, come hang out, like come over here, we're gonna play a game, it's gonna be great. And so I just reframed the gym, not just as a safe space, but as a place where I could play and experiment with my limits and test those. And so as I just did the baby steps, the momentum started building. Like it's like rolling a snowball down a hill. And so once I realized the power of my actions, that was when we got to the point where we are now, where we went to the gym today and I was lifting, and Rachel always does this thing where she's like, you don't look like you're very tired. I'm like, what? I'm exhausted. You know, like just.
I'm like looking at you doing the leg extension today, and you're just like looking around, like kicking your feet up, and I was like, that is not heavy enough, because you're so strong, and your legs are so strong. Yeah. And I was like, look. My legs are not as strong as my upper body. Like your legs are stronger than mine. Yeah. And I'm like, she's doing less weight than I did. So like we need to fix that.
Yeah. And
I did.
You did. We went up and it hurt, but it was so worth it. And now I know when I go to do it on my own, I can lift heavier. And we PR'd on a couple of stuff, and not just by a couple pounds. Like we leg pressed today, and I met a new personal record by over 100 pounds. Yeah. Because my old PR was 220 on the leg press, and today we hit 365 for 5 or 6 reps in a row. So that was exciting. And then I benched today because I've always wanted to try a 1 rep max, which I learned the definition of today. It's just you pump 1 out, you have a spotter there. Don't try a 1 rep max by yourself. Very important to note. So in a safe space. And I was able to bench press over 100 pounds, and that was a goal that I'd had for myself. So now when it comes to goal setting, it is much more ambitious, I would say. Yes, it's much more ambitious. And we talked a lot today in Rachel and I's gym session about the mental game.
Yes.
And
you're a mental lifter.
I am.
And just to clarify what we mean by that.
Yeah, please.
Is I have many clients, and I think it's a lot with athletes too, because like picture a gymnast, that's the best way, because that's why I'm the way I am, is even if they just put like 1 finger behind me to spot me on a back handspring, like I could do it. But the second they took their full hand away, I was like, I can't do it. Even though that 1 finger spot is not going to do a single thing. Yeah. For you, like, you needed my hands to simply be there. And that's true with a lot of people, is they just need the comfort of someone knowing that if they can't do it, so they can go give their all on that rep and know that they're going to be fine. They're not shying away from it. They're like full force into it. And so you today could totally lift it. And you saw the video. We recorded it.
We did. We'll have to post that so we can show. You're
totally fine. Like, you literally were struggling, and then I just simply put my fingers, like, next to the bar, and it went, like, straight back up.
Yeah, straight back up.
Which is so funny, because it's like...
For, like, 3 in a row.
Yeah, it's
over
like,
and over again.
This.
Yeah. And so I kept saying, take your hands away. And then I go, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself. I'm crushed. Yeah. And Rachel would go, just push up. I'd be like, I can't do it. Her fingers come into the picture. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, the first time she spotted me, I was like, okay, on the next like set, I really need you to not help me lift the bar up. And you go, Julia, I wasn't helping you lift the bar up. I said, what?
I mean, you can even see in the video, like, my arms are not flexed at all. Like, I'm not using them.
Yeah.
Like, they're simply, around the bar. So, so Julia is a mental lifter. And I think it's so cool. Actually, today, when you were lifting, I was thinking to myself, too. I was like, man, like, if we can get over past the mental mindset, powerlifting could totally be in your future, which would be really cool.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
I know. Because, and here's the thing, too, is you talk about how you were competitive in high school and everything. And I think... For me, when I have people who really love that, it's great to set goals that are competition bound. Yeah. Because it gives you deadlines, and it gives you things to really work for, and then also like something very like SMART goals, like it's a specific goal that like you can reach. And be like, oh, I did that.
Specific, measurable, attainable.
Yeah. It's like a SMART goal.
Yeah.
And it seems like your mindset's very much there. And I think a lot of people's mindset's there.
Yeah.
It's so great to set really specific goals and broad goals because those specific goals are really great. Like being able to do one pull-up or being able to do one push-up. Because once you do it, you're like, I did that.
Oh, 100%.
We hit that goal specifically. Yeah. You know, because losing weight takes time and building up really, you know, heavy squats takes time, or like doing like a Spartan race. Like there's a lot of different things. But I think something that's very set, concrete, and within your means in the next month or so is great to set those goals too. Yeah. And because you kind of touched on this, like things that keep you motivated is now you're seeing your body's capable of so much more than it was back in July. And I think that is helping you set your goals. But it's also funny because you're getting stronger and you have these other fitness goals, but you've lost so much weight.
Yeah.
And you look so good, but it's so funny because you're like, well, now how do we get rid of this?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, what's that mindset for you? Like, what are you thinking?
Oh, geez. Well, I, for any of my fellow Reddit users, there's a great forum called r/lose-it if you just need any online support. But I posted in there and I talked about how frustrated I was because when like my whole life, I was like, I mean, my friends would call me vain. Like, I've always been like, I'm the one that's taking the selfies, you know. I asked my ex to say what animal I would be, and he said, well, a peacock, because you like when people look at you.
We met on a content creating trip.
We did.
Where you just take pictures of yourself.
Yeah, you gotta own it. So, even from that starting point, I never nitpicked my body that much. And as soon as you start lifting and you start a weight loss journey, you just look in the mirror. Like we were at, I mean, this is how crazy it gets. We were at a teriyaki food place today, and I turn and I notice myself in the window and I do a double take. So I'm like, wow, I look so thin. And then I thought, wow, that must be a really flattering window.
Like, no store makes their windows flattering. Like, it's like this hole-in-the-wall chicken place. Yeah. And Julia's like, they must have molded this window to make people look better.
Truly. Like a fun house.
No one's doing that.
Yeah. And so that made me realize, I was like, you know, I told Rachel, I said, I have checked myself out more in the past 6 months than I have in my entire life. And it's not because I look the best I've ever looked in my entire life. It's just because you can't help yourself. You're like, oh my God, this. Oh my God, this. You're like, oh, is my tricep coming in? Oh, is this, you know? So I think it's important to keep a balance between, like, I try and do a 60-40 split is what I tell myself in the mirror, is you spend 60% of the time admiring your progress, and then you can give yourself the other 40% of the time to constructively say, you know, here's what we could improve. And so that's what I come complaining to Rachel about is, okay, so I'm losing weight here, but I want to lose it here, and which you can't do targeted weight loss. That was a hard lesson to learn right away. Yeah, so you just become much more aware of your body. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. You just it's a new muscle that you build. Yeah.
You know, even though you are getting more nitpicky
that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, with where you want to be. I think it's really cool because I think if I had said to you back in July, like, you're gonna get to a point where you already look so good, but you're gonna want more. I think just, you know, you're capable now. Like, I think you truly see that this is your lifestyle now. Yeah. And that you can manage a sustainable lifestyle, making these changes and still making progress because, you know, you're still making progress. The scale is still going down. You're getting stronger. So, like, two things are happening simultaneously, and I think you being more nitpicky is just showing how much of a hold you have on your goals. Yeah. Like, that you're saying them out loud to me, because the second you say them to me, they're put into the universe. I will hold you accountable to those goals. And I think prior, maybe you probably wouldn't have said something to me, because then we got to put some work in.
Yeah. No, 100%. You start the snowball when you say it out loud or write it down.
Like they say in physics.
Yeah.
An object in motion stays in motion.
There you go. Yeah.
It's going to.
Yeah.
And people just have to get a momentum going.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, your potential keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
And I think the reason you do check yourself out more, which I love, I tell people, I'm like, take your gym selfies. Take pride in the fact that you are doing something for yourself. But I think the reason you're checking yourself out is because previously, you didn't have to work for your physique. Mm-mm. And you're working for it and you're putting a lot of effort into it. And now you're like, I'm proud of this.
I did that. I did that thing.
Yeah, like I did what I really didn't think I was going to ever be able to do.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not only doing it, like I'm thriving in that.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine my life now without the gym. Like, truly, like mental health-wise, physical health-wise. Yeah. Like, it just, and it's only been 6 months.
Exactly.
Like, don't feel like it's going to take forever to build this habit, this routine. Like, it will creep up on you faster than you suspect. Yeah, just give it a taste, give it a little try, and then you're going to be hooked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just 6 months, you look like a whole nother person.
Yes. Oh, we should touch on that. So my grandma did me dirty and chose a picture of me at my heaviest for the Christmas card because, like, everyone else looked good. And again, I did not loathe my body in any way.
No, we still went and content created all
I
the
was
time.
shooting.
TikToks. Yeah.
I was shooting in bikinis.
We went to Hawaii.
Yeah, it was not a self-conscious thing. But now when I look at that picture, I'm reminded of the stuff I was doing to put me in that position, and that's what makes me not like those pictures because we embarrassing today Rachel like can't even contain herself. We plugged my old, because I'm a very habitual eater, we put in my old day of eating into my Fitness Pal and it came up. Let's look at the Carfax here.
This was while we were drinking our like really low fat protein shakes that actually tasted amazing at my favorite gym. Shout out to Choose Fitness.
Shout out to
They're
Choose.
They're my favorite gym. And
I'm looking at it.
And this was really eye opening for you. And I think this is back to our nutrition episode where it's just eye opening to see what we're feeding ourselves.
Yeah. So just for reference. If you listen to our nutrition episode, which if you haven't, play the track back, listen to the episode 2. I now eat 135 carbs a day, and that's if I max out. On an average day, I was having 415 grams of carbs, 211 grams of fat. Now I only have 45, and that's if I hit it. And I hit my protein goal at 145.
211.
Yeah, and then I calculated the caloric intake of my average day, and it was 4,210 calories.
Yeah, so in fats, you were eating 1,900 calories of fats
alone.
A day.
Daily.
Yeah, and that's where...
That was important to note. These are days when I didn't snack. Mm-hmm. And this is not counting soda.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so that was really, so I'm kind of being a little bit more of a detective now with my past life and analyzing it. And it's important, if you're listening, it's important to not be harsh with yourself. I look back at my old self, and it's not one of those situations where you post this side by side and you're like, I hate myself in that picture. It's just, I needed to love myself more in that image.
In taking care of yourself, too.
Yes, 100%. Like, people always say, you know, love is great, but actions speak louder than words. And so I could go around preaching to everyone self-love, but I was not taking care of myself. I cut back on medication, all with the supervision of my doctors. Do not play pharmacist. Don't do it. All with the consultation of doctors and my care team. Yeah, so just don't look at your before pictures with hate. Just look back and acknowledge how far you've come and be excited that you're in a place where you are taking better care of yourself now. Yeah. And I think that's where I've landed. And I'm just excited to see where it goes.
I'm so excited too. In 6 months, I'm going to have you listen to this episode in 6 months and see how far you've come then. Yeah. Because the progress is still completely being made. And that's only 6 months.
To quote Renee Rapp and Megan Thee Stallion, I woke up hotter than I did yesterday. And that will continue to happen for the rest of my life.
what is something that you would say to July yourself, your own self in July, as well as, like, someone else who might be in the position you were in July? Like, what is the thing that you wish someone would have just sat down and been like, hey, here you go. What is...
It's so crazy because as you asked that question, I didn't even need to think about it. Like, it's so clear to me. And I've never had this thought before. It just came to me in this moment. I would tell myself, going to the gym is hard. Not eating your feelings is hard. Eating the right amount of food is hard. But you know what's harder is not taking care of yourself. It is harder to sit in your emotions and not process them physically. It is harder to cringe every time you go up the stairs. It is harder to try on your favorite clothes and have them not fit and have to bag them up and put them in the closet. That stuff sucks. Yeah. And, like, yes, going to the gym can be annoying. I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, every single time I post, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But you know what? By the time I leave the gym, I feel better. And so that's what I would say is, as hard as lifting weights, as putting on the gym clothes, lifting in the area where there's really experienced people, as scary as freaking cardio is, what's scarier is your cardiovascular health decreasing, you going to the doctor and having them put you on diabetes watch. Like, I promise you, that stuff sucks harder than putting on your gym clothes and going to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. I'm glad you've reached that point too, because getting you to go to the gym and track and stuff was really hard, but I think once you fell into it, it was like, oh, okay.
It clicks. I promise you, it will click. Yeah.
I love that too, because when we used to go do stuff together, like, the physicality of, like, we used to walk stairs, I don't know, all the time for every shoot we did. I don't know why. Every photo
because
shoot,
you hate me.
Every location I chose ended up having, like, 1,000 stairs.
Like,
but,
no exaggeration. Like, beaches literally have 1,000 stairs. Yeah.
And now that stuff looks so different for you. Like, you do stairs every day now. You know, so it is really cool that your mindset has transformed along with your body. Yeah. And yes, even though you don't want to initially go to the gym because you work all day, once you're there, you know, you're sending me your gym selfies. You're feeling good. You're excited for every day. I know there's times where you're like, I'm excited to weigh in. Like, which is to check in with me, right?
Never. And that's something we're not conditioned to think, especially just like in society
like
today.
Excited to weigh yourself because you're like, I did so well this week. Yeah. Like, that's really cool. That's, like, a cool concept to think about, is you don't fear your weight.
No. Oh, I love when you say it like that. Yes. Well, and something important, I know we're running short on time, but something important to note, I just got to spit this out, is the scale is great, but make sure you pair that scale goal with, I want to lift heavier. I want to run further. I want to feel better. I want my Apple Watch to yell at me less, because that's what's going to create the holistic, healthy fitness journey.
Yes. Yeah. And your journey is just starting. We're just 6 months in.
We're simply beginning.
Which is so, so, so cool.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys enjoyed listening to Julia's journey, because I know so many people are on their own journeys or thinking about starting their own journeys. And it can be really hard because you might feel really alone in that. And you might feel like you can't make the change because of XYZ. But everyone has an XYZ that they struggle with. And it's good to hear that other people have struggled with that, but also have moved forward and been able to come out of that. So we hope that this episode can be inspiring for other people, because it is.
Yeah, thank you for listening to me. Honestly, like, I appreciate you taking the time to hear me out, and I want to open myself up too. If you want to reach out, ask me questions, like, talk about
Follow her.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Listen to me complain about going to the gym. Like, it's a treat.
If you need to see that someone else is just going, and that's your sign to go to the gym that day, or that's your sign to, whatever you're posting is, like, motivation for people. I've had people already tell me that seeing you do your thing is really motivational for them.
Like, I promise you, I am just a normal person who doesn't want to go to the gym, who goes anyways, and that could be you.
Yeah, it could. So know that there are other people who, also feel that way. But everyone's journey starts somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether that's just going for a walk 5 days a week, 2 days a week, whatever that looks like.
Parking a little further away at the store.
Yeah, little changes that lead to, reaching where you want to be.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, is there any last thoughts you have, Julia?
If you're listening, I am so excited for you. If you're thinking about this journey, if you're just starting, I'm with you. If you're far along, you've probably already inspired me. So just filled with grace and gratitude for the opportunity to have joined the fitness and health and wellness community.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up here.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
This has been another episode of Girls, Gains, and Growing Pains.